Hi there, and welcome back to Culturally Sound. I am here with Ross from Launch United, visionary leader, fintech space, something we haven't had the opportunity to chat with anyone in. I'm excited for the conversation. Ross, what got you started in this space?
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for inviting me, and really glad to be here and to share some interesting stories uh, that I've got from my pretty much unusual journey and unusual career from the banks, large corporations to startups and incubators and all the kind of venture building things, so the cryptocurrency and so on, and moreover, then I'm originally Ukrainian, so be or traveled from Ukraine to London, where I'm right now, building the international companies, having the UK as a base for me. So definitely cool stuff to jam around.
Excellent. Yeah. And so where where did you get your start? What got you into sort of the finance space?
Yeah, that's pretty much a question that I do remember how I decided that,
Okay.
because you know when you're young and when you like trying to find yourself and trying to get around the way what you're gonna do in your life when you before and the uni or uh, finishing the school and so on. And my I didn't know that I end up like in fintech and blockchain and so on, but I do had a specific uh, idea in my mind that I wanna pursue something that is related to money, because I love math. I pretty much gonna nail it, all of the maths related stuff, and all of the logic and et cetera, at school and at uni, and that was the primary tool for me to enter everything. When you're succeeding in some stuff, or being at school, the uni, and that's kind of the opening door key for you. Um, Despite that, I had really low, really low marks in the humanitarian part subject, like as basic English or local language knowledge, and despite reading a lot of books, it couldn't kind of work out properly with all of the kind of subjects not related to pure logic or numbers and so on. But
Got it.
on the other side, I do I had an understanding that uh, numbers and all the stuff, it's my way to do things. So I being in Ukraine, and being Ukrainian, you have especially with it, you've had right now, before the war, Ukraine was
Yeah.
one of the best fertile grounds to any entrepreneurial thing that you could imagine in your life. And even now, despite the war, Ukraine has a lot of kind of opportunities to do, and a lot of opportunities to chase, especially the latest laws that Ukrainian government, Ukrainian parliament adopted. Um, Even right now, a bit of sidetrack, but even right now, these days, one of the most progressive laws of that regulates cryptocurrency and regulate blockchain is in progress of being kind of accepted in Ukraine. So uh, back in the days, I didn't have a lot of opportunities, but I had the fortune to spot banking and digitalization in banking. So 1+1, my love to numbers, and we transferred to love to finance, and my love to logic transferred to kind of something that is related to digitalization and technology. I didn't know anything about that back in the day, but finance and technology moved to the digitalization and banks, my uh, pure dedication was to this direction. Even though I didn't have a conscious understanding about that, I just being guided. I just am being guided by my gut that I must pursue something that changes the world, but also helps the entire world, entire economy, the entire state flowing and growing and to literally operate, because money is not kind of the thing that you chase at just banknotes and stuff. I
Mhm.
see that as a thing that powers the veins of the economy, the veins of state, the veins of the whole kind of globalization and so on and so forth. So
Mhm.
uh, joining technology and money, I ended up in banking and in fruitful and successful tries of changing the banking environment in Eastern Europe.
Yeah.
Why I'm doing this pause? Because it was harsh. You can imagine the bank, like big banks, on the clash of the technology, old school way of doing things. Seen, I even saw the bank that blocked a big institution with billions of dollars under management that worked purely on Excel spreadsheets in uh, 2005, 2007. Can you imagine that? That's kind of incredible.
Wow. Okay. And what does that evolution look like? How did we get from there to creating an incubator of where you're at now?
Yeah, it's pretty much simple, because and that leads at least from what I said as the last point. Because
Right.
when you like a smart, ambitious individual working at a big international bank
Yes.
or a big corporation, you do understand that you want to change something, and you pumped with energy, pumped with new ideas. Breaking you're literally breaking the concrete walls with everything that you have in hands and with the head and so on and so forth. At some point, I understood that I have a glass ceiling, and
Yeah.
together with that, the technology and the finance moved to the another completely another direction, to the more understanding of fintech, to the booming of the industry that we call fintech right now,
Mhm.
within mobile banks to the now neobanks and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So I've got an opportunity to spot this trend. It was like a more than 10, 15 years ago, something like that,
Mhm.
to spot this trend, to jump on this train of creating different neobanks, of creating different technology powered fintech applications. And pretty much the same aha moment I've got working on the fintech applications. I've spotted the blockchain and cryptocurrency uh,
Yes.
opportunity. The technology was just kind of lifting from the ground, and and I do remember, you always remember such kind of pivotal moments in your life, and I don't know, I always remember that. I don't know how about you, or how about someone from the audience, but I do remember the moment when I've been approached by the recruiter from the Wires company.
Mhm.
It was even not it was even not the kind of Wires per se, but they just started to work on the new product, and they were looking for someone who could lead that direction, the technology and the product overall. And I was like, all right, what does he do, these guys? What they up to? So I also had the chance to dig into that about the blockchain cryptocurrency. I heard about the technology before that, but here I had the specific example of opportunity and how it works, and I dived into that instantly and got the opportunity to work on this project, which ended up in the incredible journey from 0 to 6 million users within the application, and from just simple near banking app where you can store some money and spend with the card, to the multi-million business with more than 6 million or even more than 8 million users right now, around 130 countries.
Right.
And I do remember this moment when I started to work on this project, and before the actual talks, the Bitcoin rate was $2,000 per one Bitcoin. And after I started to work on this project at Wyrex, the Bitcoin rate went down to $300 per one Bitcoin, and I was gonna, all right. I started my new career. I just got my son born, and so on and so forth. I kind of left all the successful banking and fintech stuff, and I started my new career in a company and in the industry that purely relies on the asset that just dropped from $2,000 to $300 per one Bitcoin. Kind of, all right, let's go. That's the right way to put your stake on.
Wow.
And through the journey from at Wyrex, I had a chance to lead incredible team and to be in charge and bring incredible ideas of building anything that you can imagine in fintech and cryptocurrency, from centralized protocols to decentralized, from centralized products to decentralized protocols, working directly with Visa and MasterCard and different international banks. And you can understand that at some point, when you have such a vast experience, you can create something bigger. You can create something meaningful, and a lot of opportunities, a lot of ideas flowing here and there. So I had a chance to move forward and start leading companies and start working on the bringing more ideas and more interesting projects into this world by being a partner of Launch United Incubator. So here I am, a person who had a chance to go from the Eastern Europe to the UK, from big banks and big corporations around the world, to the fintech companies, blockchain startups, working with World Bank, United Nations Organization, International Financial Corporation, and to partner of Launch United, where I share all this experience with companies that are incubating under the umbrella of Launch United, and that's pretty much quite an experience, because I have really unique blend of seeing the world from different angles, bridging corporations and startup-ish mind. I'm able to switch all these minds and switch companies to the mode when you need to grind and create in a startup mode, or when you need to be settled, and when you need to think about policies, about risks, about all this efficiency of operations, and so on and so forth. For example, that gave me this experience gave me an opportunity in my last company that I led, one of the biggest Eastern European cryptocurrency exchange to make it profitable in just 3 months. So that was really quite a journey.
What strings do you pull on to create a profitable BitCurrency exchange? Like what does that, the whole cryptocurrency and sort of digital currency in itself is, it's been around for a few years, but I think if you're in it, you're in it. If you're not in it, blockchain and cryptocurrency and how those all interweave into traditional banking structures is sort of a bit of an enigma. So just sort of for those listening, how do you weave those together, and how, like, what strings do you pull? We know what strings we pull for a traditional company or a traditional transaction space to create profit within there. Is it any different for a cryptocurrency exchange, or what does that look like?
I would say it's not different at all right now. If we would have this discussion like 5 years ago,
Okay.
it was significantly different, because cryptocurrency, it was like a completely different world. 99% separated from anything that happened in a normal world.
Right.
But right now, and I do remember days, and I've been approaching banks, and I've been approaching traditional payment companies with the proposals like, hey guys, we can make millions together. We can eat the world, literally eat the world with our services, if we'll just join the cryptocurrency and the traditional cards and traditional bank accounts, and if it will be everything in one application, or it will be or you can use that together with real money and so on. And I remember this fear on their face, and complete tremor in their arms, and they like, oh my God, no, just not that. We can't do that. We are too young for that. We're too afraid to do anything with cryptocurrency. We do not understand what's happening over there. Look at that right now. Revolut, banks, BlackRock, everyone just beginning to add cryptocurrency, stablecoins to their operations, their portfolio, bring the opportunity for people to gamble on crypto, because cryptocurrency is still pretty much gamble market if you trade in and so on. Meme coins, all this kind of cultural phenomenons. That's a fascinating thing that happens right now. And what we have in nowadays in the current world, crypto companies, big crypto companies. I'm not talking about the startups, and I'm not talking about decentralized, this decentralized finance stuff, because it is still quite a separate great area. But traditional centralized companies, crypto exchanges, and so on, they are quite the same business, but with their own special kind of cherry on top, because you do need to understand specifics. And as in any business, in order to be successful, you need to understand the underground rules, how everything works. But in order to make any business successful, you have pretty much one simple thing to do. You need to make business sustainable. You need to earn more than you're spending. And given the cryptocurrency market is pretty much mature, with a lot of audience here and there, pretty much in any country, it's understandable what to do, and you can apply the traditional approach in business to make it successful, but with understanding the intentions of people that want to play around with cryptocurrency and so on. So my latest things, my latest products that I've been leading related to crypto, it's a cryptocurrency exchange and crypto payment products, and specifically dedicated to stablecoins. This is the stablecoins is the main hot topic, I would say, right now in cryptocurrency,
So
together with general trading and investing in Bitcoin. So
let's
like that.
pull that apart. When you say stablecoin versus what? What's the flip side of, or what's the alternative to stablecoin?
That's a really great question, Chandler, because what is stablecoins? It's pretty much the equivalent of traditional currency, but powered with the blockchain technology.
Okay.
And as no one cares about the what microchip you have, microprocessor you have in your laptop, only if you're a geek or something.
Sure.
But what kind of things you have in your laptop, how it works, what is the integration bus or whatever, how it communicates between each other. So no one cares about blockchain. Everyone is talking about the use cases, and stablecoins is one of the main use cases that emerge from all this blockchain technology that represents efficiency that this technology brought to the financial market. And as answering your question, stablecoins comparing to the traditional way of transferring money. So imagine you want to pay someone in USA or in Europe or in Singapore, Australia, whatever.
Sure.
USA, Europe probably is kind of not a really big deal and so on and so forth. But when you are trying to send money to Australia, Singapore, Hong Kong, whatever, traditional payments suck. They are expensive. You need to pay more than $50, 50 quid on the transfer, on the Swift transfer, and you need to play. You will be completely blind when your payment will arrive and what is the path of this payment.
Yes.
And that's incredible to think about today in 2025, because imagine that you're sending $1 million, million pounds, 1 million pounds, whatever, million euro.
Sure.
You send this currency to some company in Europe or to some bank in Europe, and you do not, once you send it, you're completely stunned and blind. You do not know anything, whether this payment will arrive, whether it will be stopped, whether it will be kind of lost, and you must continuously monitor that, and you must continuously be on call, like, hey guys, is it arrived? If there isn't arrived, can we ship our kind of stuff, and can you get our services, whatever. With stablecoins, you can send any amount for the same price, like up to starting from 1 cent or 1 to 1p, and receive the second party will receive this payment in seconds. And that's incredible how easy and how cheap it could be comparing to the whole bank ecosystem. A lot of people that processing these payments, checking the companies, checking the IML and all other stuff. Stablecoins, they literally eliminate the 80% of work done by banks when you moving money from point A to point B. And that's why it is the hottest topic right now. And that's why we'll be all sending money in more efficient and more kind of easier way. in the future, and it will be these new great ways. They will be powered by stablecoins, but we will not even recognize that. As general people, will just be, all right, we've got any payment in a seconds, without even like a for free or with really low fees, um, but uh, but still underlying technology will be incredible, and a lot of features will be moving on
And
that. And yeah,
I think that's kind of part of the amazing part of it all. In as much as the trust, back in the day, at least on this side of the Atlantic, we would go to Western Union and excuse me, we would say, hey, I've got to send $200 to my Aunt Edna's in San Francisco. Here's the 5524. She gets $50. It's a transaction fee, and it's basically Western Union taking $50 in that till and passing $50 out of the till in San Francisco. Now introduce in Canada, there's Interact, which connected all of our banks, and we were able to send money, from person to person really easily. And it made it smooth and simple. We just click a couple of buttons and there's that interaction online, pulling money out of our bank, and it would show up in their bank. Now, to understand how that works on the back end is mind-boggling. And now we're talking about doing it internationally with what you're describing as a stable coin. And I think if anyone listening takes a moment and considers that, like, how would you effectively do that? And to do that instantaneously, is this built on blockchain 4, or what's the infrastructure that supports the mode of transportation?
The main technology for that is blockchain. Yeah, and as I said, stablecoin, they say just a representation. It's just kind of moving zeros and one from one point to another, or like it's not even moving zeros and one, just changing the record of database that I moved my money to you, so you've got different number in the balance sheet. But when we're talking about the stable coins and comparing that to Western Union and so on, when you work with stable coins, you shouldn't trust the certain providers that will process everything end to end. Yeah,
Right.
certain stablecoin like a USDC is issued by one company, Circle, but on the other side there are decentralized stablecoins or any other tools, and when you store these assets, you can store these assets on the wallet that, or is it that you can access only, without any opportunity of anyone to block it or to do anything else about it, or to do anything else with it, if we kind of going down deeply into the blockchain technology. But for general people, for general purposes of, obviously, you don't need this level of being so CryptoPunk, and
Right.
you just need to send some dollars to your auntie or to your
Yep.
niece, to your nephew, kind of birthday gifts, so on and so forth. So you'll be still operating with traditional currencies, but the magic happens under the hood of that, because in order to move large amounts and to do all these kind of reconciliations between banks, imagine that when you send money somewhere internationally, it doesn't mean that your $100, the company takes $100 bill and they run this $100 bill to the plane and to then fly to the destination and give this $100 bill to your niece or something like that. They stack all these payments in their bank, and then all this kind of chunk of money, but it's kind of not the chunk as a cash. It's kind of a big number should be moved from one bank to another, and imagine that it should happen with all this reconciliation of balances with bank. So the bank that sends money should have enough coverage to send this money, and the receiving bank should have enough coverage to receive this money and hold this money and then distribute this money and so on and so forth.
Right.
With stablecoins, you don't have all of that.
Right.
With stablecoins, you have just a distributed database that changes numbers, and companies, banks, and financial companies, they use right now blockchain to move big amounts of money through this technology, avoiding all this reconciliation between banks, all this hassle of moving big sums of money. And agreeing, can you send this money? Do you have enough credit on your accounts? Can you receive this money? Do you have enough credit? So are you able to hold this big amount on your balance sheet? As a receiving bank can literally couldn't do that because they are not capable to. Their policies are not able to handle this amount, so on and so forth. So everything is washed up by this technology, and that's why it's booming right now. That's why big companies and banks are investing in it and making this technology, making this stuff as a hidden bridge for powering just the same interfaces that you see in Western Union and same interfaces that you see like a TransferWise, any other application that helps you to send money internationally. Domestically, you're right. Domestically, everything works perfectly. You can maybe as far as my knowledge, in USA it's already kind of been fixed with new applications, applications for sending money. Because back in the days, ACH was a nightmare.
Yeah. And it's slowly getting better. I know some colleagues were doing some moving some funds around in the Caribbean, and still, it's very manual. It's calling on the phone and, hey, do you see that on your side? Yep, see that on my side.
Yeah.
Okay, we're and it's very manual. But I've tried to explain to my clients the use of base currency in their businesses. Now, this is significantly above, but I'll try to loop this together in a cohesive question. There was the discussion around using a base currency, typically USD, because that's the currency that they predominantly do business in, and then they exchange when working with other countries. Do you see a future where a base currency is a digital currency or a blockchain, and the traditional currencies are moved away from? Or is that so far off in the future that it's not even worth discussing?
Chandler, I remember the hype in 2018 when everyone, at least in the cryptocurrency industry, were screaming that, hey, right now we will be killing all banking system. Banks will be eliminated. Blockchain will rule the world, and Bitcoin is the king.
Yes.
Where they ended right now, they ended up in as tight as possible connection with traditional world. And as we're talking about stablecoins, which basically dollars, but in slightly another form, that's the way how it's gonna move forward. It will be just another technology that powers traditional way and traditional basic financial tools, financial objects like a currency, like a USD. The USD will be the king. the end of the day, but it will have, the currency will have slightly different shape, but a slightly different way of being distributed, and it will work in a different way, much cheaper, much faster. The interconnection will be incredible. So imagine like a speed of light, but it will not be light. It will be just kind of value that people send each other or machines send each other, and that's another incredible thing that I'm exploring right now. The the tools and capabilities for AI agents and tool capabilities for robots to move value from one point to another. And I'm watching on what Stripe does. One of the kind of leading companies in payments. They've just recently they've created the the guidance and blocks for AI agents and for autonomous, for the software powered by AI to use my bank account and pay on the stuff that the software thinks it must pay, or something like that. And with developing the technology and developing the financial system, where the traditional basics, but the basics were the same. I mean, like the currency, the Federal Reserve, the banking institutions, or it will be some kind of other form of regulated institutions and assets, different classes of assets. There will be gold, obviously. There will be shares, and there will be different class of assets like a Bitcoin and all other cryptocurrencies. But everything will be interconnected, and everything will be transferred at the speed of light between different parties, and there will be much more wider list of parties that interact with all this stuff.
I mean, that's not something that, we're going to use in our household to balance our budget, but this is enterprise and government level services where accounting departments are managing those payments manually, or they're scheduling those payments. This is going to be more of an agentic system where those types of interactions aren't even looked at. So it's purely AI driven.
Definitely. Imagine this, how it works right now. You bought something and you receive an invoice every month, like with the request, please pay us using this account, send money over here, and that's it with that. So if you missed it, you got a call, hey fellas, where's our payment?
Yes.
It's alright if you pay in a few days later. At least invoice is kind of 30 days for payment, so on and so forth. Tomorrow, these invoices will be received by your automated accountant, and you'll be before starting this account, you'll be like talking to this software. It will ask you some questions like, Chandler, what would you like? What would you like the payment schedule to maintain? How long I should keep invoices unpaid before getting a call from your supplier, and so on and so forth. What accounts I should use for payments? At which way I need to ask you some permission or question or notify at which circumstances I need to notify you when someone will something should happen or will happen, and so on and so forth. So this piece of software will read in an invoice. It's capable to do that right now, and work according to your instructions to pay it, to send money from one point to another, and that's the technology, and that's the idea. One of the ideas we work at Launch United right now to develop this kind of agentic system, so that is that interview you to understand how would you like to do things, and then using the new technology to to execute these operations in a most efficient way as possible.
Right. Right. And I mean, I guess that's just blending a little bit of the character recognition software to receive the invoice efficiently, effectively, take that, process that, write that into some sort of a record, and then be able to understand how to process it at the other side, and then reconcile it to produce the report at the end of the month, to sort of remove all of the manual infrastructure. And I mean, that all, it's funny because I set up a system for a client a couple months ago that was similar to that, obviously not as sophisticated, but it's incredible to conceptualize it. Sitting here is quite simple, but to actually ensure that that system is functional and works and doesn't hallucinate is another thing altogether. And I look forward to getting to a point where that isn't a restriction of those systems. So with Launch United, you're exposed to the very tippy point of innovation and concepts and ideas and people that are looking to build with the most, revolutionary concepts and tech that, they're building the tech that they're going to be working with. That's got to be extremely exciting. And how do you decide, or do you sort of welcome anyone into the ecosystem, or are you selective in who's able to participate, or what does that look like?
Yeah, we have the certain way to do things, because launching up is not because it's not the first year I'm kind of pushing this initiative forward, but because at the very beginning, we were very open-minded, and Launch United is pretty much focused and closed incubator that doesn't take ideas, or rarely takes ideas outside the network, let's say, because Launch United is not just on me; it's a network of entrepreneurs and investors and strategic partners that spot things here and there, and then bring to the incubator to actually develop a product from it and fulfill some need, and then have the client instantly, rather than, hey guys, let's create something stuck from my finger and try to launch it. Maybe it will be great, so maybe not, but in most cases such approach just gonna tickle someone's ego or something like that.
Yes.
And pretty much 4 years ago, 5 years ago, I've been kind of at the very beginning, when everything was just starting, we were like in the mood that, hey, this idea looks really cool. Let's build it. Let's do it. Let's kind of launch it. Maybe we need it. Maybe someone else needs it. But it ended up quickly. Ended up quickly nowhere, because in the next 6 months, we ended up with 3 products that no one without users, without like a revenue and so on, and that was quite disappointing, and it opened a lot of eyes around, because 4 years ago we were thinking, hey, with such great entrepreneurs, we had this world by kind of leading companies and bringing some kind of products here and there to the revenue and to the success. But when you start something from scratch, and when you're trying to target something fresh, some fresh need or fresh idea, and sometimes it's kind of conceptual idea. It in 90% it ends up nowhere.
Yes.
And right now, after that eye-opening experience, we've changed the direction, and I've kind of let these change to shift into the what I call reality check innovations, because I'm really keen to build something that changes the world completely with the visionary technology that no one uses right now, with the approach that no one uses right now, something that changes the market and changes the world. But I need to find a proper VC to fund that, because it would be extremely expensive. We focusing on the sustainable stuff, and even though the idea of technology would be innovative, but the product, the need must be super obvious. And as I said, we are not kind of working with some outside ideas. Everything that Launch United is developing is kind of brought by the network. It means that someone has a connection, or someone spoke to the actual company or to the actual person that had a need, and brought this intention, brought this problem to the incubator, and we developed the product to target this problem. So already before the development, starting to work with this particular person or company to validate things while we are creating the product, and to launch it with the first client on the board that uses this product to get the feedback, to get the valuable data, whether we hit the target or completely missed everything. And that's the way how the Launch United does these things.
And is there anything that is sort of, without giving away anything, is there anything coming down the pipe that you're really excited about, or that you feel is really game changing, that you can sort of share, or do you sort of keep everything pretty quiet until it's ready to go to market?
We keep everything not in a way kind of pretty much quiet. We keep everything quiet from the big bada boom launch. Let's kind of launch everything in the X, Twitter, launch everywhere, a lot of marketing, money spent, and so on. We kind of in a reality check sales mode, when we work with potential client.
Yes.
Continuously check the temperature and whether we move with the in the right direction, and develop and growing the product. And then when the product is kind of ready, we do not release it with the great launch campaign. We just quietly release it and start approaching or start onboarding the next client. That's the way the business, how I think the business in the startups work, because we are not. You can do a lot of launches, a lot of big launches, and you can do a lot of marketing campaigns when you have money for that, when you run your business, when the startup generates money for that. And that's the mindset we are working through the Launch United. And about things that I'm excited about, I wouldn't tell you about the specific products, but about the directions for sure. the first thing that I'm excited about is personal efficiency and the efficiency overall of the companies and all the teams and so on and so forth. A lot of time spent on the calls and a lot of time spent on the like discussions and all this kind of stuff. And one of the things is one of the things is that I really look I'm really looking to target when I'm gonna optimizing some company or even rescuing it from the bankruptcy is the transactional expenses. And that is the similar thing as payments, because when people communicate, they exchange the value between each other. They tell some one person tells something to another and vice versa. And it's pretty much, this process is pretty much a transaction, a lot of transactions between people. And when you're trying to explain something to another person, and when it takes a lot of time to explain, it means that you have really high transactional expense
Yes.
on the process, because it takes a lot of time to explain something, and it takes a lot of time for the person to understand. And therefore, you spend a lot of money just for talking around. And one of the convergence, one of the products that we're cooking right now and at Launch United is gonna product that helps to cut a lot of these transactional expenses by using the AI and by guiding people through the meetings, guiding people through the exchanging information on the calls, and organizing all the stuff and so on and so forth. Another thing is that we discussed payments. I'm always excited about payments and about the technology of applying crypto assets and digital assets to the payment processes and to the process on how you spend money, how you spend your money, how companies spend their money, so on and so forth, how you earn yield on your asset. And that's another really great opportunity for people looking around.
Of course. And I think, as I sit through, something that we help our clients with is building out the tech stack and making sure that they're able to find platforms that are able to communicate with each other. And if they don't, we're able to create some sort of mechanism that allows them, either through REST API or some other mechanism, to be able to get those platforms to talk to each other. And I think, as you said, being able to speed up that process to understand the application of those platforms, the transactional cost of getting from concept to implementation, I think could be tremendously sort of valuable. So that's an interesting concept without having too much detail. If you were to describe yourself in 3 words, what would you use to sort of sum up your approach or your personality in how you look at and manage the day-to-day?
Do you mean in business, or like, in which direction?
Good question. So, I mean, I suppose in any. So for myself, I like to sort of position myself as humble, curious, and maybe relentless in my pursuits.
Great.
I don't give up easily. Do
Yeah.
you have a similar framework?
Don't give up easily. It's definitely the characters that I value a lot. Because without that, you can't do anything. And given my journey, that's pretty much an example of doing trying to grind your way up to the point that you envision yourself. I would say that things that characterize me, they have, we can map these words that I think are most aligned. The first word is probably freedom. I like to create something that gives the freedom to myself, to people around, and that's something that I value. One of the value a lot. One of the best things that the person can have. And I'm talking about the freedom of choose what you do, the freedom of how you spend your time, the freedom of talk about something that you want, the freedom of basically the freedom of managing your time in a way you want, in a way that you feel. And freedom is a great representative of myself and my character, of Ukrainians that stand against Moscow and fight for their life and for the state. And that's something that I had an understanding. I felt in my gut a long time ago, and right now I have a conscious understanding as a passive individual that freedom is this cornerstone of everything. Another thing that I would say I have like a big tattoo of, it's a great it's entrepreneurial curiosity,
Yes.
or curiosity about things, about ideas, about activities, about concepts that
Hmm.
change the world, or can change the world, or make things better, or to provide freedom to
Hmm.
people, to around, to me, and so on.
Yeah.
And I do have an ability to spot all this kind of stuff, all these inefficiencies, and be curious about that, ask a lot of questions, and uh, be persistent
Mm.
of kind of creating the world around. So it's not quite the one word, but this entrepreneurial part, which I see as an ability to create the world around you, is the maybe the second thing. The
Yep. We're
third
good.
thing,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. We're good. And if you were to, I mean, I can definitely all of that. I can see just based on our conversation so far. The never giving up, the freedom, and the curiosity. Are you a quote guy? Do you have a guiding quote that you follow that sort of leads you down your path, or a mantra that you sort of align with?
Well, I would say that the main mantra uh, is that is the point that I just started with about the freedom. So
Yeah.
I really value, and I guide myself by measuring how I gonna be, how much time will be mine rather than anyone else
Yes.
tomorrow. And
Hmm.
that's the thing that I'm thinking a lot, especially nowadays, because mm, when you get in older, you start to consider, you start to understand that uh, life is uh, much kind of wider, bigger. It has a lot of different things, and a lot of different opportunities
Yes.
to approach. And when you're young, your life is pretty much guided.
Hmm.
You have the most of people, they have the not the same scenario, but the line to follow. to study, to have a school, to have a uni, or some kind of period when you standing up on your feet, you getting an understanding what you're gonna do in your life, and I I see this process of starting to getting an understanding what to do in your life as can gaining some consciousness about yourself, gaining some understanding that you have limited time, you have endless number of opportunities, you have a lot of people around you, and the world is interconnected and so on, and you must figure out how to be aligned with all of that, how to be organic with yourself, how to be organic with the world around you, and getting back to everything. It starts from ability to manage your time and ability to feel yourself as a as a person that creates and kind of manages things around rather than being managed, being guided to somewhere. So that's a kind of pretty much the mental pattern, mental quote or whatever that I have in my mind continuously running in the background, and it helps. It helps a lot. To stop some time and put aside all the kind of routine things and fix your focus on some meaningful stuff.
Just to pause and reflect, take a moment. Do you have a morning routine that you follow? Do you wake up and read or meditate? Do you do the ice bath or do you go work out? What do your mornings look like? Or do you have more of an evening routine? Do you have any routine in your day that is a framework that you follow?
I would say that I'm not a fan of this kind of morning routines and like evening routines, because I'm a father of 2 little kids.
Yes.
And if you have kids, you know that they can distract any routine and so on, and literally anything to destroy anything.
Yes.
And so that's quite a fun stuff, to be honest. But on the other side, on my experience, I also brought some habits that I maintain in order to keep the mental health going, keep the kind of all things going and so on. The first one, and that's and just a quick remark. Everything is said 100 billion times, but you wouldn't value that unless you kind of felt that in your experience. So the first thing that is really important for me is physical activity, exercising, and being somewhere at the peak of the mountain or in the middle of nowhere in the forest or something like that. So exercising and active life activity, testing your limits within like a different environment. That's the routine that helps me, and definitely will help anyone that will follow this to feel alive and to feel your body and to have the ability to kind of feel yourself as a solid person, more confident person, rather than like some blurb or something like that. That's one rule that I maintain continuously without exceptions. The second is probably ability to focus in a moment. It could be called like as a meditation or something like that, but kind of unconsciously, I started to do that unconsciously even, but with reading more about the human mind and the human body and so on, I came to the point when you have to stop and meditate or think about what you've got, or kind of do some think about what you've got and what you do. Do some retrospective on your day, on your month, year, and so on and so forth. So that
Yes.
thing that I do continuously every day, probably, but every week, that's for sure. By
And
kind of continuously thinking about how I spend the day, how I spend the week. I have a certain place in my calendar
Mhm.
just to stop and focus on things, think about them, do some retro on what I've
Mhm.
got, review my objectives, review my kind of strategies, what I'm doing, review my habits, and teach something or employ something new.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. I normally try to frame that into a bit of a gratitude habit of, just having some appreciation for, what's going on in my life, what's going well, and sometimes you're able to sort of circle back around and even be thankful for the difficult, hard lessons that you've had to endure to allow you to
Yep.
sort of be able to manage and handle where you are. What would be something that you would describe, or that you would be your most fearful of, and something that would cause you to be afraid of the result, and why? What would cause that for you?
Probably the biggest fear for me is to work all my life at the job that I don't like,
Ah, yes.
and the jobs that I just need to feed myself, to have kind of the shelter and so on. That's
Mhm.
probably the biggest fear. The biggest fear for me.
Yeah. Do you, and I mean, and I no need to stick to sort of the Marvel universe. I mean, I've got Groot over here, and Yoda up there. But do you have a superhero that, or a mentor that or someone that you admire? And what does that look like for you?
Yeah, that's a great question. Because since the AI started surging so high and all this kind of
Yes.
things started to kind of avalanche through the everything.
Yeah.
From any window you hear all this AI thing and robots and so on. I I more and more started to get back to my readings of Isaac Asimov.
Mm.
Do you know this? Do you know this
Yes.
author?
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Uh,
Yeah.
it's a great author that literally described a lot of years ago pretty much the world that we are starting to live right now, or will be living in future.
Right.
And
He wrote Foundations, right? Do I have the right author? Foundations?
yeah, and,
Okay.
he wrote the foundation, yeah,
Yeah.
and that try to put on a series just recently. I didn't see the series because I just don't want to
Yeah. Yeah.
to,
Yeah. Yeah.
to,
I,
to be sad about about how it ended.
how it turned out.
Ended up,
Yeah.
yeah. But overall, I don't have like a superhero.
Right.
I have this kind of I have this world of robots and AI stuff going that been described by Isaac Asimov, and I literally get in flashbacks to the moments when I read the book about the multivac super AI computer described in the Isaac Asimov creations. in his works, and how the governments are ruled by AIs, how the robots walking around, and so on and so forth. So that's quite a fictional, science fictional thing that that I like. I like to read. I
Mhm.
liked to read, and that I see brings to the future, and so on.
And I mean, fitting for your role and what you do and what you're trying to bring to the world. So that ties together nicely.
Yeah,
Look,
yeah,
Ross, it's been an absolute pleasure, and I love your story and what you've shared and what you're doing and where you're going with it. It's been your time, your generosity. It's been a gift, and I really appreciate you coming in and having such a candid chat with me. I really appreciate it. Is there anything else that you wanted to share, sort of before we tie things up?
I would say that in terms of like creating things, and in terms of building the career, in terms of building startups and businesses, I would
Mhm.
definitely like to share some things that I've mentioned through the podcast, but just to summarize it,
Please.
if the audience, the people that listen to that, if you want to change your life, just go ahead and do that. But the- and the only way you can do that by kind of creating something by yourself and for yourself. You not you shouldn't kind of think about that as you as the one warrior in this world and kind of owning everything. Just get the people around, engage them, and
Hmm.
start something with them. Uh, Start something meaningful that brings value to you or the people around, and you'll eventually, with dedication and with discipline of everyday work, you'll be successful. And that's probably one thing that wakes me up uh, in the morning, that
Hmm.
people are still capable to take their soul, and to take their future in their hands, if they will be dedicated, if they will be disciplined enough, and only with the hard work you can achieve anything in your life. No one will bring you anything on the plate without anything, without any work at all. So if you have some kind of younger people that are just trying to build their career, or people that are on the beginning of something,
Hmm.
dedication and hard work is the key. Unless you're born as a millionaire, or in a family of millionaires.
Right.
If not, only dedication and hard work will kind of open doors for you. Uh, will create the great story for you, bring something to your life that you want. Uh, so that's one of the main rules as well, for myself.
I love it. Sage advice for sure. Again, thank you so much for agreeing to be a guest and hang out with me for an hour and a bit. And I look forward to having you back when you feel like you want to have another chat.
Yeah, Chandra, I really appreciate that you invited me. It was a great pleasure to talk with you, and to just casually sit and jam here. And I really like that even more, like just getting through some kind of agenda and something like that. I like the discussion flowing, to the conversation flowing. It was a great pleasure to share my thought, to talk with you, and I hope we'll be keeping in touch, and have a few have connection here and there.
Yeah, no, I we'll definitely sort that out. So again, thank you so much.